Good evening and welcome. December the 7th, 2017. It's exactly 9:24 p.m. and indication that Christmas is coming closer and closer. Once again, as you can see from the headline of my topic, let us put more into action. A country that is very beautiful, so many intelligent people that we don't need to import more people from any part of the world to help us solve the problems in the country. But the most important thing is, I've said it so many times and I'll repeat it again, coming together, doing something within your own community, we will definitely get a result to whatever we're trying to do. Once again, this is just a kind of interaction to see how we can learn from each other, what we've been doing as well. I'm sure most of you that have been following us, this is just a kind of, engagement to see what more can be done, what areas we should look into, what side we should focus on as well. I'm sure we've been able to move around in different locations. We've been able to bring as many different events that is happening within the little resources that we have. But the most important thing is amazing that, each time, I go out and I come back home, there's always something that wants to trigger you to do more, and that is just me as an individual. But we can only do more, if we all come together collectively. A lot of us have, engaged so much on the social media, but it's high time that maybe you as an individual think of something for 2018 that you can engage as well. You could set up a foundation, you could set up an NGO, you can also help in your own little capacity. There's a lot of different foundations all over the world and in Nigeria as well. But the most important thing is if you're giving 50p, $1, 1 lira, or whatever foreign exchange to any of these NGOs, in each of the country that you're living, I'm sure it will go a long way. But the most important thing is you as an individual, what more can you do? Start thinking of that for next year. Think of, that the year is coming, to almost, the last couple of days, and we hope and pray that everybody will be able to see the 2018, within the next, couple of more days. But the question mark is, living in the country that there's a lot of things that is wrong, in as much as we can make a change, but that change is not just going to happen, I'm trying to bring in from the media aspect to you every day out there. But then I want you now to take it to the next level from your own qualification, your own experience, to see how from some of those videos, some of those clips, some of those pictures you've been watching, on the social media that we've been posting out, where you can then key in from your own perspective. You could go into your own community. You could also help the farmers that are struggling, one way or the other. I know we can do all these without, so much from the government, but individual, we all have, I've said it so many times, we're all in almost 1 or 2 different WhatsApp groups. We're all engaged in different social media. We're all kind of connected more now compared to 15, 20 years ago. But are we all going to sit down and say, yes, there's corruption, there's problem in the country, and nobody wants to take responsibility. Responsibility is what almost everybody is trying to run away from. And not until we engage, to take some of this responsibility within ourselves. You might be living in a particular estate. I've shown you those kind of pictures as well on videos where you engage, within that association. You could be active, rather than waiting for things to change. What is so amazing is, I've said it so many times, one of my younger brother was there with me this evening, and we were, generally, you will always ask so many questions why things are wrong. But he said to me, Yomi, he said, my brother, there hasn't been those that collect refuse, for a very long time. And now, it's good for me to tell you some of these basic things that, maybe individual might not think of it. You walk on the street, there's a lot of refuse all over the place. And the question is, when are they going to pick up all this refuse? Who is in charge? And he said to me, for a very long time, they've not been able to pick up the refuse in his own area, but he will take it as his own responsibility to go there tomorrow and find out what the problem is. As you can see there, he doesn't have to wait for them. He doesn't have to wait for the local government. He doesn't have to wait for the state government. And he also doesn't have to wait for the federal government. He has decided on his own cost, to drive down there tomorrow to find out the reason why, there haven't been any kind of collection of the refuse in the area. Remember, the refuse is not just his own alone now. It's the whole street that has been affected. So if no one is saying, I don't care, it's got nothing to do with me, that is not what, I'm just trying to do my own hustling. I'm struggling like any other person in the country. I don't have a responsibility to find out whether the refuse is collected or not. What about the health implication of that? These are some of, the orientation that we're talking about, that individual, we can make a change. You don't have to be in any political party, but you as an individual can, bring in ideas, initiative, within your community. Have you thought of, where you are living presently now to kind of have, same thing like is, in UK, where after school service, maybe as a weekend, open your compound, let people come in. The children, if you're a teacher, maybe you can give half an hour or 20 minutes or 10 minutes. These are things that we must think of now. We have to take the responsibility to rebuild this country ourselves. If we are waiting for the outsiders, the foreigners to come and do it for us, we will be waiting for a very, very long time. Individual will be able to do it, than waiting for someone from, outside the country, to come in and tell us what we want to do. You know your area properly, very well. You live there. You've been, almost, average person must have lived in one community, for 5 years. So you know what you see every day that is wrong. Maybe you have to, get the notice of someone to say, look, how can we, get involved? How can we change, this perspective? It is, it is good as much that we communicate quite a lot through the social media, maybe from the media aspect of things, but let's start bringing this into action. If we talk and talk, we bring out all kind of, seminars, events, and nothing is happening, we are not really going to make any impact. There's a lot of, different events that is taking place, in the country. Some are being paid for, some are free. There's an event that was happening at VI today. Engage with some of these events as well. We are not saying, it's difficult, definitely, but maybe as someone that is still thinking there's no hope, maybe you might want to take, 100 naira, 300 naira and attend, some of these events, and you might then see the opportunity that is waiting there for you, and maybe you might start changing your own mindset. Remember, everything is all about the mindset. A lot of people, that come into the country might not even want to stay 10 days not to talk of somebody staying over 7 weeks now. But if you put it out of your mind that this is my country, whatever the situation is, whatever the problem is, we are all in it together. But if you're coming in and saying, well, I have other option, I could travel back to America, I don't have to be here, then we won't have that same mindset. But if you're thinking, you know what, yes, there's no electricity, the fuel scarcity is much better, I can tell you, when you start thinking of, yes, these are, problems, after these problems, what next? How do we solve this problem? Someone visited me today and said, look, there's a problem with the refuse. I'm going to go there tomorrow and I'll try and see what I can do as an individual. The same thing goes, with you outside as well. You'll be coming home for this Christmas time. We're looking forward to see as many people coming home. But while you are at home, get involved to do something different. Look at your environment. See where you can, you can engage. If you're not, I keep saying, there's a lot of money opportunity in the country, not just from the government. People think you have to be in the government to make money in Nigeria. What we don't understand is, we are over 180 million. I've just been to the chemist not too long. Remember, I've not been feeling very well myself, but I've been trying to just manage. Again, it's my country. I don't have to run away to outside the country to get a treatment. I have the option to do that, but because this is where, this is my country, and whatever is wrong with me, I will try and get it treated right at the moment while I'm here. But the most important thing is, while I was coming back, I took a stroll. It's always good for me to just sometimes want to take a stroll and see, the difference of, the individuals. I saw a lot of Okada riders, that are having their meal. Remember, it's late in the night. They were, having a conversation, and you can see that in the whole darkness, because remember, there's no street light. They were still having a good time. This is a country where, with the little that people have, they're still happy. We went out and, I remember, I'm going to be having something tomorrow morning. I need to get the bread and the egg. I said, no, let's go back again. I just love the whole environment. Whether the road is not good, yes, we know it should be fixed properly, but the people are still happy. And if they're happy the way they are, then remember, most of them are not on social media. And this is where we must engage with them. I remember when I was doing the update on the fuel scarcity, some of you have probably watched that video. If you haven't seen that video, I was speaking with the gentleman. I don't want to use the word, Okada rider, because these are the most important transport system. I'm not talking about you that have your own car, you have your own Jeep, you have your own Toyota Camry. These are the cars that people drive in Lagos. Maybe if you go to Lekki, you'll probably see some of these exotic cars. Remember, custom 657 of them, maybe those that doesn't want to pay for duty. But we're talking about the Okada rider. I was speaking to the Baba, I said, Baba, báwo ni, fuel scarcity, ṣé kò affect you? He felt a little bit reluctant because people are very skeptical the moment they see you and what is amazing is a lot of people don't see people holding the phone and talking. So sometimes they think maybe I'm mad. So because they see me with the phone and think, it wouldn't really tune by you. I'm sure people probably notice sometimes I will come off line for about a few minutes because while I was doing that video today, a guy came next to me and said, Edmond, it wouldn't tune by you. They don't understand the power of this phone. I'm using a phone to do all these videos that everyone is watching globally. They're expecting me to have all this digital camera. This is, things have moved. So when the guy came, I said, no, because remember, again, that shows that they're aware of their, environment, which is very important, and I love that so much because, the moment I see somebody standing, for a very long time, I'm holding the phone, I'm talking on the phone, they're like, the guy came to me and said, look, but that you're just standing there, with this phone. What are you doing with the phone? But what I don't understand is that phone is sending a signal all over the world. is sending a message all over the world. And when they come close, I'll show them, I say, look, this is what I'm doing. And they're like, wow. Because not everybody can afford to run it the way I am doing it. Sometimes I'm going about 1 hour straight on a live coverage, sometimes half an hour, 30 minutes. It's a lot of money spent on data, but I have to do that because I love this country so much and I know things will change. But I'm only doing my own bit from the media that you will never see from any of the other, media outlet there, because they're so busy, they're so engaged with other things. But I just want to show people the best of this country. Yes, we know there are issues, but those issues now, how do we tackle it? How do we get involved? You have the brain, to turn your own area. Remember when I keep using community, I want us to focus on that. I'm not talking about, where the government has responsibility, to take care of everybody. But I'm talking about you living in one community, in the association, in your estate, on your street, and you're thinking there's no street light. Have you given them the idea that, look, solar panel? Let's think of that. In about half an hour, I can tell you, we know the time that the light will go off in this estate, but the estate makes sure that there's still electricity in terms of the street light in the whole of the estate. Why do you think they've done that? It's because they want to make sure that people living here are comfortable, that even if I don't have power in my house at 10 o'clock now and I decide not to put on the generator, I could still walk to the street there without getting scared. So please, every individual, we've been talking a lot now, for the last, since Facebook have transformed, live coverage, live streaming, and I've been enjoying it myself. When I'm not live myself, I'm also looking for where there's a live program going on. As I speak to you now, at the Nigerian Eye Commission, there's also a live program going on there, trying to tell people, come back home. Yes, it might not be where everybody might be comfortable with. I can tell you that it's difficult terrain. It's a very, very tough one. If you're not, even if you have your car, the fumes, the roads, there's just a lot of things that is not right. We know that. But with that, we must not allow that, to bring us down. We must continue to see where those of us that say, we've been able to see things, from a different angle. How can we come in? And if you don't want to come in, look at those if you're living in Canada, if you're living in Russia, if you're living everywhere, anywhere, see how you can connect with people. As I speak now, you're very right, Jagomolu, and, solar can change, the game greatly. To be honest, let us tell people that are building houses. If you know your family members, a lot of people living outside the country as well. How can you live as a diaspora? You're building your house, you're not putting any solar energy around it, and then you're blaming the government? You at least build your own house. Put the solar energy there. Make a difference. But you're still waiting, because if you have that, well, still the signal, but we're back now. At least if you're trying to build your own house as a diaspora, you have a little bit of money, you're coming on frequently, you want to have your own house, try as much as possible to at least put in a solar kind of system on your own house. And then maybe put out, from that energy that you're deriving from the sun, say to this community, say, look, I will give maybe 3 street lights running from my own source of power. That means you're adding value to the lives of those people in that area. But if you've decided to say, you know what, I'm just going to take care of my own environment, my own property, I don't want to get myself involved in any of the other community or anybody, my neighbor, then at the end of the day, like someone sent me a message today. He says he wants to be my friend, and I'm thinking, okay, fine. How did you get to find about me and this? And we had a conversation. But I can tell you that somebody like that, doesn't even have a good relationship, with their neighbors, where they are living. So what I am trying to say to the diaspora is, I've been around now for a very long time, You know, a lot of diaspora that comes home have David Duarte to come in. What we are trying to say is, look, yes, is a country with a lot of problems, but let us solve some of this problem, you know, within our community, and then engage as well. We might not get it right straight away, but let us continue to, you know, also, you know, work closely. You know, if someone is trying to do something, it is high time that we work together. You know, I'll go around again and mention some of the, you know, things I've mentioned. Diaspora, for me, I'll tell you, we've done a lot in the country, but we could have done more in terms of having our own diaspora hub where you can hire equipment to go to the farm. You could hire an office where if you want to use it, you know, we're not saying it should be free, but at least we can engage more. You know, we should have, like, you know, a diaspora hub. I've been home now for like almost 8 weeks, and I should be able to say, okay, today I'm going somewhere where I know I will, I don't know what is happening, Duarte, maybe you are not at home getting a good signal, but I could tell you my signal is very good there, and we'll continue to see if we can bring you in. If we have all this hub in Enugu, in Onitsha, in Kano, in Sokoto, so if everybody's at home, you say, okay, I want to spend half an hour, 1 hour, I'll go to a diaspora hub where we can exchange ideas. You know, there's internet facilities there, and we are running it. We are also putting back, you know, to that community. To be honest, I don't know whether it's available. If it's available, I would like someone to send me a message and tell me we have something like that already running in this country, in the 36 states. We should by now, you know, if we're sending in, you know, billions of dollars into this country, we should at least have our own hub center. But we are waiting for the UN office. We're waiting for the UNICEF office. How come we don't have a diaspora hub? We are so many of us that are doing so much great things outside the country, but in terms of infrastructure for ourselves in this country, you know, for the use of the diaspora, like I said, it shouldn't be free, but we should be able to at least have somewhere that we can sit down, exchange ideas. You know, I'm not talking about, you know, well, try connecting. Yes, you know, like I said, I'm still, you know, trying to bring you as well. I don't know what is happening. You know, but we'll continue to see if we can bring you in. So by now, if I'm going into the farm, I want to get a tools, you know, to use on my farm. We should have a diaspora to say, you know what, there's a higher center for the diaspora. Maybe not just for the diaspora alone, but I'm talking about a diaspora, you know, infrastructure. We are sending home money for school fees, for burial, for naming ceremony, for weddings. Is that just all we want to do? No. We should also think of now putting, you know, some kind of infrastructure so that if anybody's at home, you know, we should be able to say, you know what, you know, I don't want to use, you know, Uber. I want to use the diaspora taxi, because that means, you know, as I'm putting back into the diaspora, you know, income, I'm also helping, you know, the Nigerians that are working in that sector. I should be able to say, I want to give a phone call and let, you know, a rider come in and pick up my letter and deliver it to the next person. But what we've been doing is, you know, we've been coming here, you know, there's a party, there's a wedding, there's burial. That is all we've done most. I'm not saying we have engaged in this country, but by now, for me, I've not been able to see that. I've done a lot of research, but I've not seen a diaspora hub, a hub center, even if it's one in each state, so that when I go there in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, I know that I'll be engaging more, you know, with people of like-minded Nigerians, you know, those that are coming home as well. And there's Christmas time. There will be a lot of influx of diaspora that will be coming home immediately after the school holiday in UK, in Canada, in Australia, in New Zealand, in Singapore. You know, I've had a lot of people that have been in touch with me that are living in the, you know, in Asia countries as well. But it is high time we stop being selfish ourselves and try to do more as well. We're doing already, because if we are sending home billions of dollars, I'm not talking about 1 billion now. You know the statistics. You can go on Google and check that out. But by now, we as the diaspora should have, you know, a kind of infrastructure center for the use of both home and those coming into the country as well. And this is what I want us to start looking at, come 2018. We can make it happen, but we must continue, to put in a lot as well. And we must also remember, election is just coming very soon. There will be a lot of, all kind of things that will be play out, for the next, by 2018 January now, we will start to see a lot of more people that wants to be part of, politics. But what we are saying is, you see where you can engage and help as well. I was just about 15 minutes ago before coming on air, we can confirm now that David, the young boy that was admitted to LATSU during the week, has now been discharged back to the grandmother. We'd like to say a big thank you to Saffron CEO, Mrs. Yemi Ebulo. She was there yesterday. I was there with her. A lot of you saw my post after we left yesterday. But David has been discharged today. David have a kind of seizure, and that means he still needs help. We're trying to see how we can speak to the consultant. But if you'd like to know more, go on the Facebook page of Yemi Ebulo or type in Saffron, and you'll be able to see, how you can get involved as well. One thing is, there's a lot of people that are doing great things. I know Mrs. Grace Alexander was also having an event today in disability. To be honest with you, those that have, a kind of disability in the country, I can only hope that they'll get more help. I know the governor of Lagos State recently, has been doing more on that, but we need to also see more that we can do. We know there's a lot of diaspora, from UK, not from the other country, I'm not too aware of, but we know that there's a disability focus that have been coming on frequently and trying to give back as well. Giving back should be what we should think of. A lot of people will be sitting down, getting ready for the Christmas, and I can tell you, a lot of people will be also sitting down with nothing come this Christmas. And this is where you need to get involved, in your community. Just send someone a message to say, look, check out, a family that is struggling, and see where you can be able to help and give something, to this family, come, Christmas time, so that everybody, we should also continue to, pray for those that are still in Libya. We know we still have a lot of our citizens. The government is evacuating them as quickly as possible. But those that are back as well are going through all kind of, images that they've gone through. Some of their stories are so horrific. They've gone through a lot. So if you know one, I've not been able to come across one myself. It's very difficult because as soon as they're coming into the country, they're moving them back as well, to their state. So all we can say is, if you know one that is close to you, try to at least, put a helping hand to them. Right now, people need help. People need a lot of assistance. The country is going through a very difficult time. We all know that. We see that a lot. Yes, there's a lot of things that should have been done properly that is not done properly, but that doesn't give us any reason not to continue to get involved. Getting involved should be one thing that everybody should look forward to, no matter how small, no matter how little it is. You must try and please, get involved as well. The line is still open. If you want to be part of the program, send a request. I know Duarte was sending a message, but unfortunately, I'm not getting through to bring you on. But let's see. I don't know why that is happening. The network is very good. But for the next 6 minutes, if there's still anyone that wants to be part of the program, you want to have something to say as well, leave a comment, and we'll be able to read that out. Several renewable energy methods to generate power. Silver Ramson King is into the field for many years, but no investor. Well, that is a question mark. We've seen that a lot as well with the what's it called? David, I don't know where you are, but it's very difficult that I can't bring you on at the moment. The question mark is, sometimes I think we need to ask ourselves, we've seen a lot of scholarships that are given out, but we don't see a lot of people that are given money to invest. So maybe we should think of that as well now. Everybody's been given one scholarship. You see that messages coming out, come and do your master's in the UK, in America. But after that, then what happened? They put them in America. They don't come back home because they're not going to give you the money to come back and invest. Whereas we have a lot of people in the country already that are well qualified. What they're looking for is a little bit of assistance to set up. So, you can have that yourself. We know that. We've seen a lot of posts. There's a master's happening at Oxford, Cambridge. Everybody, they want us to come and get a free scholarship. But when it comes to, the capital to help individual, how can, an hospital that needs help with a lot of children that are, crying out every day, and yet, we are not seeing any kind of assistance, to help them elevate their pain. They're going through a lot of pain because the parent cannot afford to get the medication. A family there that we saw yesterday, she's spending 4,500 naira every day. How much is the money that the mother is making, even if she's selling something out there? 4,500 naira. That's what she's spending. So you multiply that by 7 and you multiply that by 30 days. But yet, we will be giving free scholarship, to come and study. But, they won't give us, the assistance, by the time you finish all these masters and you become, a PhD holder, then you say, okay, I want to go back home and help my people in terms of putting something back. I need 50,000 pounds. You will never get that from the bank. And this is where, if we are now sending them, billions of dollars, let us now put in our own infrastructure. The diaspora can have a hospital. It's possible. We can have a primary healthcare center. We don't need the government to establish all these. All we just need to do is, we have a lot of qualified nurses all over the world, doctors, name them. We just need to say, you know what, let us put a fund together, build our own hospital so that at least people stop traveling to India. A lot of people have been to India. They never even make it back to Nigeria. So it becomes even a burden to bring back the dead body. So this is a high time that the diaspora, like I said, we must continue to work tirelessly. We're doing that. But in terms of the infrastructure, it is high time, maybe we move the goalpost a little bit. Excuse me. We know someone like, Team Nigeria is trying to set up academy. They're asking people for fund. But people are not ready to do that. There's someone that's passionate to say, look, we will put in, academy where we will, not everybody is going to be a footballer. No matter how many children out there playing football in this country, not everybody will have the opportunity to be part of the team because we only got maybe 15 people that will have to be on the field. So what happened to the rest of those children? They might have other talent. They might have other ideas that they can do, but maybe because they think, okay, I just want to be a footballer because, I see Ronaldo making a lot of money. I see Messi, I see all these Nigerian footballers that are making a lot of money. Not everybody will be able to, be a footballer. So if somebody say, look, we want to put academy there in Lagos, in Calabar, in Kwara, in Osun State, in Oyo State, and they are saying, diaspora, come together and help us so that we can, we can put this infrastructure there. For me, like I said, people are coming home, but everybody's just coming home on their own. And it is high time we come home together collectively, the same way they're telling us 33 billion or whatever $billion was sent home, last year. What we do most is people will say, well, I'm going home. I'm having a wedding next year. I need 10 or 20 diaspora to come home with me. And they all end up coming home. Then what next? Is it just wedding and burials and naming ceremony? Yes, they're good occasions, But it is high time we start putting in some infrastructure to help us as well. And it's just as simple as that. So that, people that are home already, that are working tirelessly, not everybody will be home permanently. Not everybody will be able to live, where they're comfortable right now, because some people cannot even live without electricity and, the noise of the generator. So some have already said, you know what, I'm not going to be home. And it's as simple as that. But each time I come home, I'm going to spend 2 weeks and I'm out of the country. But that 2 weeks might not show you the real Nigeria and the real suffering of the people as well. Whether we like it or not, people are going through a difficult time in the country. And we must be able to see where we can key in as well. That is just a very short video. And I hope tomorrow we will continue to engage more, with you. But whatever you want to do, try to put it into action, not just by putting it on Facebook or just on Twitter, and that's the end of it. We must now work together to make things happen. If you're living in America, engage, more with your community in America to let people bring something back home and do more. Don't say, Monton for Woshe. If you are not sure what they're Monton for Woshe, you come down as well and see what they're doing. This is a country where you are spending money every day. You are spending money every day because there's nothing there that the government is providing. It's as simple as that. If just even the rubbish that people are paid already and they've not even picked up the rubbish for 2 weeks is out there. So you ask yourself, then what next? Are we going to leave the rubbish out there till when? It becomes an health hazard. Rats will start, coming into the house. So everybody's paying, within their own nose, in the country to live comfortable to the standard that they can. As we're speaking now, it's just, something that we cannot show you a lot of all these, pictures as well. See all those Okada riders, they don't have a house. They can't afford it. It's not, they cannot afford it. It's just as simple as that. All they try to do, they just sleep, in front of a gate. And if someone is lucky, maybe they have, a watch guard in their house, maybe 10 or 20 of them will just sleep in one particular small, location in that house. And we are talking about a country that is blessed. The crude oil alone will have helped us out. The crude oil never helped us. It has been the increment of the devil as far as I am concerned. The crude oil that should have helped us in this country to be the best in the world has been the increment of the devil. Let's put that to one side. What about the agriculture? The agriculture should have taken us, far, far better, from where we are now. But this is where we are, and people are still sleeping. And these are the same Okada riders that are moving people on a day-to-day. If you look at the statistics of what the underground is moving passengers every day in UK. So think of that. How many millions of people have to travel on the road every day? Because we don't have if you look at the rail system, I'm sure some of you must have seen some of those videos. I did one about 2 weeks ago while I was in Ikeja. A lot of people sitting on top of the train in 2017. We cannot even have a train from Ikeja to Lagos Island, from Ojota to Shago. So what you need to look at is, how do we move people? We have 20 million people in Lagos. And if UK is moving over 1 million on the coming, you probably stay somewhere in Aja or Lekki, or if you're lucky, you stay in Ikeja, maybe checked into an hotel. There's nothing bad in it, but you won't see the reality because you'll be moving in an air-conditioned car every day. And you'll probably be saying, why is this country like this? After 2 weeks, you're out again. But what we are saying is, let us all do more to help ourselves come 28. musakalam@yahoo.com or musakalam@gmail.com. I'm also on yomi@nigeriadiaspora.net. We will continue to bring the best to you, but make sure you do the best for your country as well. If you don't do it now, no one is ever going to do it for us. Good night.